Systems are online. Welcome back, Jet.
You better lock in and buckle up, bucko, because you're in for all types of mysterious footage, disturbing TikToks coming straight at you. Remember, these videos and footage is strictly for entertainment purposes only. Don't believe everything you hear or see for context. They are just theories, not facts. With that being said, slap that like button like it owes you money. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and let's dive in. What you know about Dulce bass?
We have both seen the film that was taken out of the Dulce facility. Why would somebody make pictures like this showing the creation of some sort of alien being? And this is a facility. This is a facility that's run by the United States government. I mean, with your tax money. Hamilton talked about the Dulce facility. I've also heard about, genetic engineering programs at Area 51.
There's no question that Dulce exists. I was the one that kind of led the research on that. I was at a meeting in Crestone, Colorado, and Tom Adams handed me a letter from a lady who lives in Las Vegas, and she was the one that tipped us off that this thing existed. So I talked to her, and she knew the location of some photos and videotape that had been taken inside Dulce by a guard who escaped during what they call the Dulce Wars of 1979. He used to contact her every 6 months, and he said, if I ever miss contacts 2 in a row for a year, you can go after this box, which they had hidden somewhere here in Nevada, that contained 6 minutes of videotape, 25 black and white photos, and some other documentation about what went on in Dulce. About 2 years ago, he did turn up missing. We never heard from him. And I think there was like 12 or 13 attempts after the box, but it had been hidden maybe at least 10 years ago in the terrain and the foliage, and everything changed. I don't think they ever got it out.
He said in level 5, he'd walk on by and people would be in cages and screaming and begging for help, and he's told to walk straight on through and not look or pay attention. Yeah. These people are all mad.
I heard that. And then from another source, Air Force engineering source, I heard that when he went there, they referred to it as Section D. And then Bob heard it referred to when he was up at the tip site just once, and somebody mentioned something about it being shipped to Dulce, but that's the only reference he ever heard to it.
Now, I call these the guys who are working in the facility as Igor's the invisible government's obedient robotons, but it really is a Frankenstein factory. We have both seen the film.
We can't forget about my boy Rob. That he went down in the underground base, and the Green Berets protected him, and the alien shot a green beam, and he tried to cover up from the green beam, and he was stuck looking like this. What was his name? Rob Snyder or something like that. I'm not gonna forget.
Simplify. That is raw as shit, I can tell you that right now.
Yeah,
that's perfect.
That's blue red?
Oh yeah, God, that's perfect.
I've never tried blue. I gotta try blue. It's
good.
It's good.
Yeah.
I do like the medium on the medium rare, you know what?
Bro, stop lying. They gonna tip you. You ain't gotta eat. You ain't gotta tell them. He said, yeah, I tried the medium rare, bro. You ain't gotta lie. They still gonna tip you, bro. They said that cow was still mooing. You couldn't pay me to take a bite of that raw steak. I need my stuff at least medium well. I know y'all, Chuck, that ain't how you eat a steak. You gotta have that thing medium. No, I don't want it. I want mine's medium well.
I think we have found who brought the last reset.
He said what was really happening back then. This shit looked like Star Wars. I think we have found what brought the last reset. This video is from the Vatican, hidden from us all. However, the truth must be revealed and always come to the light. Pyramids, as you see here. Step pyramid of royalty. Star Wars. It was a battle going on. No, this is not Star Trek from Hollywood. This is the real deal. And it's spectacular, as we all see here. It's amazing, the technology that we had back then. And our ancestors was letting us know that we had all this advanced technology through their showings on walls throughout the world. We just have to have our eye wide open 24/7, 365, American Indians.
And keep your head on a straight swivel.
Because we are the people, the high-tech trendsetters of the entire world. And let it be known worldwide. I'm Newbie One.
There was an Anunnaki war, you know, if the angels created, the fallen angels created the Anunnaki, you know, they had heavenly knowledge. So how far-fetched was it to think that they would be able to craft some type of flying machines, you know, the solar technology that might have melted all these ancient structures? Honestly, how far-fetched would it be? It's that time of the day again. If you thought I wasn't going to hit you with another excellent specimen of the day today, think again. Hayusin! Do you see it? Oh, there's more than one, but they look like they're part of the same pocket, if you will. You know, when they find these, it's all in a pocket somewhere. But these are definitely extraordinary. I don't even know what to call these. Look at how they dazzle. I know what I'm gonna call it. If I had to rate one of these, I would say that one, or that one, or that one. If I had to rate one of these, the best one out of all of them, I like that one too. I would have to call it. No, the rating I would give this is I'll give this a 9.5. This is up there, guys. And the name I would give this is Space Coral. I would call this Space Coral. What would you name it? And give me a rating down below in the comments.
How to send telepathic messages that actually work. The CIA spent $20 million on a classified program, Project Stargate, 1972 to 1995. They trained operatives to send thoughts across continents. Success rate, 68% verified hits. Then they shut it down. But the techniques leaked, and neuroscientists discovered why it works. Human brains operate on electromagnetic frequencies, and those frequencies can be transmitted. It's called Intentional Resonance Protocol, and you can use it in the next 3 minutes. Princeton University, 2004, Global Consciousness Project. They proved, when multiple people focus on the same thought, random number generators worldwide stop being random. Translation: focused intention creates measurable disturbances in the field. Your thoughts aren't trapped in your skull, they're broadcasting. Here's the exact protocol. Step 1. Choose your exact message. Not vague, laser specific. Call me today at 3 p.m. Think about our conversation. Precision equals power. Step 2. Enter the theta state. Close your eyes. Breathe slowly. Count backwards from 100 to 1. This drops you into 4 to 7 Hertz brainwaves, the frequency where telepathy activates. Step 3. Visualize their face in perfect detail, not their body, their eyes. Lock onto them like a target. Step 4. Send the message in a loop. Repeat your exact phrase mentally, 15 times minimum. Feel it leaving your mind, traveling through space, entering theirs. Step 5. Release completely. Cut the connection instantly. Don't obsess. Don't check your phone. Attachment blocks transmission. What happens next? Within 6 to 72 hours, they contact you. They bring up the exact topic. They do what you transmitted, and they'll say, I don't know why, but I was thinking about you. Why does this work? Because consciousness isn't local. Quantum physics proved particles communicate instantly across infinite distance. Your brain? Same principle. But here's the critical rule. Only send messages aligned with free will. Trying to control someone? It backfires violently. Inviting connection? It flows effortlessly. Test this tonight. Theta state, their eyes. Specific message. 15 loops. Release. And watch your phone. Light up within 72 hours. This isn't magic. It's electromagnetic communication between biological antennas. Share this with someone ready to transmit beyond words. How to send telepathy.
I believe there's a point in time we had this master. Even Yahushua, Jesus, when he contacted Moses, I believe he was trying to get Peter to stay up with him. He was like, you guys can't stay up with me, you know, for a few more hours. And I guess all the prophets, they passed out. And I believe he made a call to Moses. They said he like went to some type of hill and his face like glowed white. And he was like talking to Moses somehow. That just came to my mind. I don't know why. Let me give you context for it, so you guys will be like, what are you talking about, Chuck? Not. This is definitely part of the topic. When Jesus talked to Moses, Matthew 17. Metatithius. How tight does that sound? Metatithius. It's let's see if we can get KJV. I like KJV, man. I like the thous and shall not thee. You know, it's a little bit more poetic, if you will. Matthew 17. And after 6 days, Jesus taketh Peter, James, and John his brother, to bringeth them into a high mountain apart, and was transfigured before them. And his face did shine as the sun, and his raiment was white as the light. And behold, there appeared unto him Moses and Elias, speaking with him. Then answered Peter and said unto Jesus, Lord, is it good for us to be here? He said, you're in that same, imagine you in the same thing. Yahushua, Jesus, he right down from you. We go to this mountain and you see Moses come up. The first thing you need to do is get on that knee and just look down. You know what I'm saying? And Peter like, should I be here right now? That is real. I like Peter, man. I love Peter. Then Peter answered and said unto Jesus, Lord, is it good for us to be here? If thou wilt, let us make here 3 tabernacles, one for thee, one for Moses, and one for Elias. So, the point I brought this up is he transfigured before him. I'm not saying we all transfiguring, but this was an example of telepathy, if you will. You know what I'm saying? On a quantum level. You know, communication. We don't need cell phones. Has there been a time you picked up your phone and before you can call the person you were about to call, they called you? I can't tell you how many times I done picked up my phone and right when I picked it up, the person I was about to call called me, or as I'm dialing the numbers, somebody would call me. You know, it's that conscience, telepathy, communication, quantum level that cannot be explained. We really don't need cell phones. I feel like if we took out all this 5G and all this radio interference that we have, Wi-Fi routers, if we took away all that and all we had was just our thoughts and conscience field, this would be a lot more possible to communicate telepathically, you know? That's just my thoughts anyway.
All right, hold up. You were Puffy's blood boy from 2004 to 2014. Don't think I'm stupid, but what's a blood boy? So
when somebody parties too hard or isn't living right, they want a fresh blood in their system, right? I didn't drink, smoke weed. I didn't eat any pork, none of that. Diddy saw me and he was like, yo, I got a job for you. He was like, I want that blood. And I was like, whoa. And he dropped 10 grand on the table.
10 large.
Yeah. He said, I want a pint of your blood right now.
So that was a one-off, or you
No, that was the beginning. I'm a universal donor. He thought I was special. He called me his lucky little blood boy. Every 3 months, he would fly me down to Miami. And this was the crazy part. He never actually wanted to do it on land. It wasn't legal at that time.
Yeah.
So we would get on a boat and he would take us to what he would call Oconus, outside of the continental United States.
Yeah.
And on his yacht, we would just drain blood. And he would just drain me. Yeah. Just drain me, dude. Look at him from 2004 to 2014 and tell me if he aged.
Yeah, facts. And he's aging now that he's in prison. He's not all of a sudden Father Time
caught up with him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For 9 years, the majority of Puffy was made up with my blood. With my blood. With my blood. With my blood.
All right, hold on. You were
I try not to get into the whole Puffy. I don't even know what's going on with him right now, to be honest. But I can, after hearing this, that's definitely disturbing. Didn't 50 Cent do a documentary on him? There's so much craziness going on with celebrities. I try to stay out of it. You know me. We more on the archaeological side of things, artifacts, mysterious creatures type of vibe. You know, this really isn't my special area because I can't name half of these celebrities anyway, but it does make you think of the levels of darkness that they go to. And it also makes you think about the plasma donators. Like, what are they doing with all that plasma that's being donated? I donated plasma myself, you know, when times was hard, you know. Like, your first time, it was like $50. Then after that, it was 40. I think they pay you way more now. But back in the day, you was lucky to get 50. Hard times, man. But, you know, you can get something to eat after that and have gas money to make it to that next paycheck. You know, you got to do what you got to do without sinning or hurting anybody.
One of the craziest things about this shelter, 150 foot on the ground, is the generators are still working. These go back to about 1910, 1915. Unbelievable. And they're still running. I mean, look at that. It's running at 40 amps. A mercury generator still running, powering this place. Only the best here. Only the best. Listen to that. You can hear the train. So the trains are actually running above us. We're below the train lines, the underground London train lines. One of the craziest things about this shelter, 150 foot on the ground, is the generators are still working. These
guys, this mercury rectifier right here, he's saying this is powering the whole building. What a mysterious object that doesn't get talked about enough. Not once in my history, science, any type of public curriculum education, not once did they mention mercury rectifiers. Like, these can change the game if you ask me, especially if they knew how to connect these to the ether conducting rooftops. No more electric bill, ladies and gentlemen.
powering this place.
Every reset had the same agenda: erase knowledge, destroy old systems, consolidate power, and rewrite history. People think that these resets started in the 1700s. But the resets started in Rome. This is why they say every road leads to Rome. Rome didn't just conquer land, they conquered thought. They took Egypt and burned the Library of Alexandria, scattered the priesthood, and installed a new religion, not for spirituality, but for control. After Rome took over Egypt and burned the Library of Alexandria, they set their sights on the new threat, the Gnostics. These weren't pagans worshipping statues, they were mystics. They taught that God wasn't in a book, but God was within you. They believed in direct knowledge, not in blind faith. They believed that your soul came from the stars and that the material world was a trap built by false rulers to keep you asleep. So Rome called these mystics heretics, burned their books, destroyed their temples, and if you were caught teaching any of this, you were tortured and unalived. And the only reason we know about these is because somebody buried the Nag Hammadi scripts in clay jars and they weren't found again until 1945. That is how close we came to losing it all. They didn't just erase history, they erased the roadmap back to the divine. Oh, you thought the Crusades were about religion? They told you it was Christian knights versus Muslim warriors, but in reality, it was Rome versus ancient knowledge. During the Crusades, they didn't just sack cities, they looted them. Baghdad had one of the largest libraries on earth, and then, poof, gone. Constantinople was home to the preserved Greek, Persian, and Egyptian wisdom. What happened? It was looted. Jerusalem, a spiritual portal city that held ancient relics and forgotten tech. Guess where most of it ended up? In the hands of the secret societies or locked away in the Vatican vaults, where it's still hidden today. Then, centuries later, they miraculously rediscovered some of it and called it the Renaissance. This wasn't a religious war. This was a systematic memory wipe. Then, when people think of the Inquisition, they imagine witches casting curses and spells. But what's the truth? They were hunting healers, midwives, herbalists, and wisdom keepers. These were the last people carrying the pre-Christian knowledge. Knowledge passed down from Egypt, Babylon, and Atlantis, hidden in villages, forests, and bloodlines. They knew the power of plants, frequencies, and the human body. They had oral traditions, sacred songs, star maps, real science before it was outlawed. But to the church, this was dangerous, because it meant power outside of the system. So they flipped the script, called them witches, labeled them as demons, and burned them alive. This was not spiritual cleansing. This was intellectual genocide. It was never about good versus evil. It was about control versus freedom. Then we had World War I and II. They weren't just about borders and politics. They were about erasing the last traces of the old world. Before the wars, Europe, Asia, and parts of America were still filled with massive stone structures, cathedrals, star forts, domes, towers, built with a level of precision we still cannot explain. They called them Gothic or Victorian, but most people couldn't tell you who built them, when they were built, or how they were built. Then the bombs started falling, city after city. Dresden, Berlin, Warsaw, Nagasaki. These were not just strategic targets. They were full of Tartarian-style architecture, and it all got wiped out. After that, boom, the New World Order. The UN, the IMF, the WHO, the globalist banking, mass surveillance, a complete reset of identity, culture, and memory. They didn't just win the war, they rewrote the map and the timeline. This wasn't about freedom. It was the final phase of the reset. They can reset history, but they cannot stop us from remembering the truth.
For context, this video is strictly for entertainment purposes only. Do your own research on everything. These are just theories and not factual. For context.
This is in Derbyshire, England. Miles and miles of buried and uncharted tunnels. You can find the same type of tunnel system the world over. I believe many of these hillsides and cliff sides are nothing more than buried and melted structures that go much deeper than anyone can imagine. The mainstream refuses to touch on sites like this, refuse to dig deeper, because they know with too much public scrutiny, too much eyes on sites like this, the whole narrative of their history falls apart. We still have so much left to uncover. What's really buried beneath the hills in your cities? Question everything, friends. Until next time.
Alright guys, we got another map. I love doing these maps with you guys because they tell so much. Like for instance, this one's saying 13 months, 28 days. There might be some truth to this.
Here's an ancient map that shows 13 moons and 28 days, 1457. Oh yeah, it also shows griffins and dragons and all kinds of craziness and every biblical city name you can imagine. I find old maps and I dive into them and I do research, and this is really interesting. So been doing a lot with calendars lately, and if you'll check right up here on this map, there's 13. So we'll go ahead and count it real quick. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 for the 13 moons. Makes complete sense to me. And then you go on this side over here, and we have 28. Not going to count that and bore you, but 28's right there. You can pause and count it if you'd like, which leads up to 364. Add 1 for 365 for a complete year. And not only that, we can also show you this place has, there's Magog right here, and then you got Gog right there, and the little people hanging out, comparative to the storks. So I don't know if storks were giant or the people were smaller, but there's a crazy picture. There's stories about that. I didn't know it was
Gog and Magog? Hold the phone. And if you guys remember, people were saying that the oil ran like rivers from Gog and Magog. If you guys remember a couple episodes ago when we dove into the North Pole.
I didn't know it was Gog though. And then here's your griffin right here. Yeah. Never saw a griffin looking like that. Pretty wild looking. First time I've seen a griffin that way. Comment, let me know what you think of that. Also, hit me in the comments if you want a link to this map. I'll
Look, is this a raven face?
shoot it over to you. And then let me show you the dragon real quick. There's so much craziness on this map. It's just wild. There's so much on here. Check this out. Let's flip it over. And I leave you with this. Here's our dragon. So those two creatures were there, and everything else was like a elephant here, camel, giraffe, but you just have a dragon hanging out there. So were dragons real or mythical? You tell me. I think they were real. I think griffins were real too. But things have changed now, so love to hear what your thoughts are in the comments.
The griffins might have migrated just like dragons. You guys know about my dragon migration patterns when 5G started popping off. How far-fetched is it to think that if griffins could fly, that they could have migrated as well beyond the ice wall? And I'm working on bunching all these maps up to you, so you guys will get a giant zip folder of all these maps. I'm not going to gatekeep any of these.
Why it feels like we're living in hell and Jesus should have come back a while ago but hasn't is because we're now in the devil's time of deception in Revelation 23, and Jesus' 1,000 years already happened, which is why you have these buildings we cannot build today, which were built during 1,000-year dark ages, and they had no power tools. And when you look at these buildings, they're all dated in the time of Jesus. As you can see, Jesus, 687 years and 1,000 years of Jesus. And then 725 and 1,000 years of Jesus. Then the I, right, which they try to tell us is a 1, but it's an I for Zeus, and which is Jesus in Latin and Greek, right? So then you got the I, and then you have Anno, which stands for Anno Domini, year of our Lord in Latin, which is why we go by BC and 80. Now, if you need the scripture, go watch my first pin video, and if you need other videos, go watch those, because this is just about DC being Rome. But as you can see, the Statue of Liberty, which does represent the devil, has a broken chain at the bottom of his feet, which obviously means he's been loosened from his prison, which happens in the 1,000-year reign of Jesus. Then we get to the Capitol building dome, which the Statue of Liberty is on top of, and this is a Roman goddess, and then she has a Roman crown, which, you know, we're going to see a lot of. because inside the dome of the Capitol is this painting of George Washington, and as you can see, he is representing Zeus. Not only is he doing the as above as below, but then he has his two, wives, which Zeus is always seen with. Then he has she has the Roman hatchet. And when you go back to the times of Rome, the most important temple in Rome was called the Capitol.
Hold on, slow down. That wasn't a Roman hatchet. That, I forgot the name. You guys know what that name is that he's pointing to. It was like a weapon that they use, like an etheric weapon. The name escapes me, but that's not your average weapon.
Then he has she has the Roman hatchet. And when you go back to the times of Rome, the most important temple in Rome was called the Capitoline Hill, okay? And then the building was called Mons Capitolinos. I don't know how to pronounce that. But they're literally just changing the language, which, would be English. They're translating it from the times of Rome and doing the exact same things. And people may think that they're trying to be Rome, but no. Rome was the worldwide beast from Revelation, and Rome was in every continent. And they did not build these. These were already here, and these were a part of the Roman Empire, and they were just buried when Jesus came back. And before I get back to the Abraham Lincoln Memorial, just look at everything in Rome. DC, sorry. When I went to DC, I genuinely would not have been able to tell that if I was in Rome or DC or not, if you weren't told, right? Because these are literally Roman deities on the top. It's a Roman architecture, and then on top of that, how would we have built this just settling in with no power tools, and then all the photos are all buried buildings? When you go into the Lincoln Memorial, you'll see two paintings on your left and right, and they're two parted paintings. As you can see, the first painting on the right, these Roman deities are being worshipped. But not only are they being worshipped, there are little ones who are being offered up. And you even have a little smaller one than the smaller ones already. So very clearly, it's obvious what's happening, and these are all Roman deities in Roman clothing. And then what happens on the left photo, the second part? The second part, the deity's hands are up, her wings are out, and she has her full power, and the offerings are all taken. And as you can see, the little ones are no longer there. So it's pretty obvious what happened. And if it's not obvious what happened, then I want you to realize that the woman who had her hands up, whoa, see, that's weird. The woman who had her hands up like that, she is doing the same pose as Moloch, and we know what type of sacrifices he takes. And I'm going to make more parts explaining how Rome was the worldwide beast, and how the buildings we see all around the continents, not just in America, but all around the world, are all Roman buildings from Jesus' time, okay? And we took them over. That is why, we're not making them today. And the only prophecy we're awaiting is Revelation 27 through 10. And my next video will be that I believe that we are the saints, and we have to build the camp of the saints. That this prophecy is awaiting us, and I believe that Jesus has woken all of us up to this at this exact moment where the dollar's about to crash, so we can, well, I'm gonna get it to that video, so just wait for my next video if you want that. But I believe that, we obviously are in the devil's time of deception, and that is why we feel like we're in hell. And this prophecy is awaiting on us. Jesus says whatever you bind on earth, you bind in heaven. And I think since Jesus came back and we are living in a new covenant, this prophecy is awaiting us.
For me personally, it's going to take a lot more than looking at the buildings and the J and the I and then the dates. It's going to take a little bit more for me to believe the millennial reign already happened. This is just me. I know a lot of people that watch my videos, they say, Chuck, it already happened. Hey, I don't know. But I can tell you that our salvation isn't guaranteed upon, did you believe in the 1,000-year reign already happened or not? Because me personally, I don't feel like it's hell out here. I still feel like there's a lot of good out here. His righteous remnant is still out here being the pillar of society. You know, some people are still out here doing the right thing. The news may amplify, you know, terrible things and like, oh, this is going on. But if you just turned off the news, go outside and see people, you know, people are happy and they look nice, you know, from what I can see. You know, it's like it doesn't feel like hell outside, you know what I'm saying? The sun's bright. I mean, yeah, there's crazy stuff going on, but there's still a lot of beautiful out there and a lot of good still, is what I'm trying to say. Again, I'm not knocking if you believe the 1,000-year reign already happened, but me personally, it's going to take more than a couple buildings. It's going to take some real revelation for me to be like, okay, he already came. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Talk to me. That's all we got for today's video. If you made it this far, be sure you hit that like and subscribe button. And the code word for today is dark history. Go ahead and drop dark history in the comments below. When you do that, that shows me you made it all the way to the end of the video. You really rock with your boy, and I try to heart every single one as much as possible. And I just want to say thank you for hanging out with me. This is your boy Jet Ski Chuck with the most mysterious TikToks on the internet today. See you later.